Hello and welcome to Talk Ag to Me, the podcast dedicated to improving ag literacy around the globe. I'm your host, Brennan Black, and today I'm joined by a friend of mine. This is Gavin Patrick.
Hi.
And so today's episode is going to be a bit of a different one. We're going to be interviewing Gavin and asking him some questions, but the main focus of the episode is on the FFA American Farmer degree. This degree is the highest degree that an FFA member can receive while being active in the FFA, and it's definitely the most difficult degree to attain out of all of them.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's a lot of work.
So for those of you who don't know, the American Farmer degree has a long list of requirements that you have to achieve before you're able to get it. And so I'll just read off some of the requirements, and then we'll ask Gavin here about his path to getting this degree, because he received it this past October in
Indianapolis. I had to fly out there.
Yeah.
Red-eye flights.
Did you say the whole week, or did you say just for the day?
Just for the weekend, basically. Wow. Flew out there the night before and went to get my degree, and then flew out that same night.
Out? Wow. That's crazy.
I got a story about that flight, too.
All right, well, we'll get to your story in just a second.
Yeah.
First of all, though, the American Farmer degree is, like we said, it's the highest degree you can attain in the FFA. And in order to get it, first you have to attain your state FFA degree, which you have to have by being actively involved in FFA for at least 3 years and having a pretty clean record in the FFA and being pretty involved in community service and involved with your SAE and that sort of thing. And that's just, before you can even start to fill out your application for your American, you have to have your state degree, and then it gets complicated.
Yeah, it's more add-ons to it.
So in order to get the American degree, you have to be involved for at least 3 years in an ag class of some kind, or involved in agriculture education of some kind for at least 3 years. You have to have graduated from high school at least 12 months prior. So I can't get it. I can't get it until next year.
Yeah.
Because you have to be out of high school for at least a year before you're allowed to get it. You have to have an operation and have maintained records to substantiate the outstanding supervised agriculture experience, or your SAE program. And so basically you have to keep records, financial records and hourly records of your project, what you did, whether you worked with animals or whether you worked with mechanics or plants or work experience or whatever you did.
It's a lot easier to keep track now that they've gone electronic on the computer.
Right, because they use AET.
When I started FFA my freshman year, we were still using record books.
Yeah, me too.
And I still have the first 3 that I did, because halfway through my junior year we had to switch over to the electronic.
Oh, okay.
And I was hard to get used to.
Right. No, exactly. I had the same problem because I was a sophomore whenever we switched over, because you were a year older than me. But we switched over from paper record books to AET, but the teacher I had didn't require us to switch over. So I just kept doing record books until my senior year, and then my teacher made me switch, and it was the hardest thing because I had to transfer everything over, and it was such a pain.
Yeah, the reason I had to switch and all that was for my state degree, because they stopped accepting the hard copy. You had to do it on the computer.
See, I got lucky. So. They actually took my hard copies for my state degree. They weren't. I don't think they were supposed to. Maybe they were. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I was told I had to transfer everything from my hard copies onto the computer. So it took me quite a few weeks. During class, because it wasn't something I was in class and I did it the whole day.
Right.
I probably could have gotten it done in a day or two, but because it was just during class that we're taking this, it took a little longer.
Yeah, no, I had a similar problem my senior year, because I had to transfer everything over. That way I can get my American degree, just so it's already there.
Yeah.
But, for my state, they actually took my books, surprisingly. I didn't think they were going to, but my teacher said it'd be fine.
Yeah,
so
when I did my state degree, I didn't actually always enter completely everything. Because, okay, now I've got the requirements.
Right.
So it's I don't need to go grab my third book. But for the American degree, it's wait, I'm short on something. I can't be. I know I had an extra lamb I showed.
Right. No, exactly.
Started going through the books.
You're missing something somewhere.
I didn't enter this one. And I thought back, that's because I went on to my state degree. I didn't need to have that one.
Oh, okay.
Or it was because it was the same year I got it.
Right.
And it was later on.
Disqualifies it. Yeah. So. Yeah, like we said, on top of the state degree and on top of having to be out of high school for at least a year, you have to have all your record books up to date. You also have to have at least earned, or you have to have at least earned $10,000 and productively invested $7,500 of those dollars through your SAE. Or you could have earned and productively invested $2,000 and worked up to 2,250 hours. In excess of scheduled class time. So that doesn't count. Any work you do during class does not count. It has to be outside of class, working with your project. And any combination of hours and times multiplied by a factor of 3.56. I mean, there's a ton of numbers that goes into this thing. But it's crazy. There's the requirements to get this American degree, I mean, they're pretty strenuous. Yeah. You also have to have a pretty good record as far as your leadership ability in the FFA. You have to have a high school scholastic record of about a C or better, and it has to be approved by your principal or superintendent.
Yeah, I remember having to get that. I had to go to my principal, and he's like, "What are you doing here?" I go, I need a signature. For what? An American degree. What's that? And because he had I had to explain to him what an American degree was. He goes, "Wow, that's great." And he goes, "Yeah, I'll sign that for you." And he goes ahead and signs it. But luckily, I had good ag teachers, and so my ag teacher, Mr. Coons at Porterville High School, I've known him since I was a little kid because he went to college with my parents.
Oh yeah.
And so he's like, okay, this can get kind of confusing, so I'll help you out. So I go in, like, I'm not even in high school anymore, so I'm like coming on special days, like after school hours, and he'd help me put it together.
That's great.
So I was like, I'm very thankful that he helped me with that.
Yeah, no, you definitely need somebody to help you out just because it's so much. You have to organize everything.
Yeah, you need like a second pair of eyes because if you're just by yourself, you're gonna miss something
easily. I mean, I haven't even finished everything for my American yet, and just filling out transferring everything to AET and filling out my record books for my last steer and everything. I had my teacher look it over, like, that's wrong, you need to fix that. Where does this come from? I'm like, I thought I did it right, but guess not. I gotta go back and redo it.
Yeah.
So that's how it is, though. You have to redo it quite a few times until you get it right.
Yeah, you just gotta get a little bit of a practice out of it.
Right. So. No, exactly. Which is really good. I mean, it teaches you how to do a lot of record keeping stuff and how to make connections and how to go out and ask for help and ask for signatures and, besides the actual work you have to put in, all the hours and all the time and money you have to put into, to actually get the thing. I mean, you really have to be dedicated to get this degree. Yeah, and it's pretty insane.
I still like using hand.
I do too.
Record books, hard copies.
Because on the off chance that something happens and you lose everything, you're screwed. You got to you got to redo it all. You have to go back and try to remember what you punched in, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I'd rather keep all of my record books paper and have an online copy too.
Yeah, I know people that do that. They do hard copies and online. The welding shop I used to work for my senior year of high school and the first part of my college career, that's what they did. It was all hard copy stuff.
Wow.
And the only time they actually used the computers was to program the CNC machine.
Oh.
So because the program took up so much space, you had like two separate computers.
Wow.
Well, I take that back. They did have a computer with records on it, but mostly everything was hard copy.
Huh.
And so they did have some stuff on the computer, but the owner's wife was the one who took all the records. She was the one who wrote my check and signed it.
That's
crazy.
Yeah,
and basically calculated the hours. So she did a lot of that work. But yeah, they did have computer copies, but they had like boxes above the office because it was like a loft above the office.
Oh, yeah.
Boxes of just old hard copy stuff from going back to like the 80s.
Jeez.
Yeah, that shop had been there since like the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was owned by his dad at one time.
Oh, just passed through the generations.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Old shop was made out of 2x4s and tin.
Yeah, it's pretty old.
Yeah, it was just a concrete floor, but it was 2x4s and tin. It was considered a temporary building.
And it stayed there all that time.
Yeah, it's not considered temporary anymore by any means by the codes, but at the time it was considered temporary because it had a wood frame and tin roof.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it technically shouldn't even be there, but the building inspectors let it pass. They grandfathered it in.
Wow.
So they still have that space.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So the final piece to the American Farmer degree that you have to have, and I think probably one of the harder pieces to attain, you have to have at least 50 hours of community service spread across at least 3 different community service activities.
Yeah, I did stuff with FFA and 4-H, and then just stuff that I wanted to do as well.
Right.
It's like I don't have to do it inside of a club. You can just go help somewhere. You can in Springville they have the Christmas tree lighting during December. So.
Yeah, no, you can do all kinds of different stuff that counts for community service.
Yeah.
So, all right. Excuse me. So now that we kind of know what it takes to get this impossible degree, it's not
if you saw how many people were there, you would not think it would be considered impossible. Cause
there's a lot.
There were a bunch of people. You should have seen Ohio. There were more people from Ohio getting their American degree than California.
That's crazy.
And almost all of them showed up. Only 2 people from Ohio didn't show up.
Wow. Well, Ohio people are like out to get it kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, they're very hardworking.
Yeah, there was over 400 people from Ohio.
Jeez.
They got it.
Yeah,
so.
no, California's a bit of an underachievers when it comes to that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
there were less people from California getting the American degree, but there was even less people that showed up. There was probably like half the people from California that showed up. But all but 2 people showed up for Ohio because they all drove there.
Oh, well, yeah, it's right there.
Yeah, they all drove. Yeah. They all drove to Indianapolis to get their American degrees.
Yeah, it's like a couple-hour drive for them.
Yeah, it was, and it was quite a few hours sitting there waiting because California was at the end of the list this year.
Of course,
they switch it around back and forth. So
year.
When you get yours, more than likely you'll be at the front of the list.
Yeah, no,
you'll be out of there a lot faster.
Yeah, I can't wait. Well, yeah, because I went last year and watched. I've gone to nationals for the past 3 years.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so I've been. But last year was the first time I got to see the American Farmer degree ceremony.
Yeah,
because I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if you know the Swalls at all.
Swalls?
Kelsey Swall, Serena Swall, Lindsay Swall, and Amy Swall, and their dad Lee Swall, Serena's husband. Kelsey's a year older than you. Yeah, Kelsey's a year older than you because she got hers last year. Yeah, so she just turned 21. And then Lindsay's my age, so her and I will get ours next year. Yeah. And Amy's 2 years younger than us, so she'll get hers in a couple years. And then Serena and Lee are their parents. Great people. Yeah. They're very involved in FFA and stuff.
But that's good now.
So Kelsey got hers last year, so I got to go see her get hers because I'm pretty close to the Swalls. That was a really cool ceremony to see.
Yeah, I watched that.
Yeah, and California is right at the beginning, so it was awesome because we could just watch it and then leave.
Yeah, this year we were at the end.
At the end, yeah. So they switched it back and forth every year.
That's what happens. We got there. I was like, man, good thing we're California. We get to get out of there real quick. And my teacher goes, I hate to disappoint you, but this year we're at the end. I'm like, what? And he goes, yeah, we're at the end of the list. I'm like, dang it.
That's what sucks about like Arkansas and stuff. Like you either get right away or you're done. Like you're there forever. Like Alabama, I think is Alabama the first state that goes or.
No, they were actually on the years that California's earlier. Yeah, Alabama is
right because it's reverse alphabetical either way.
Yeah, Arkansas is probably the second one.
Right.
But it's like, yeah, they were at the very end this year. Yeah, no, they were at the end.
The end. Yeah, that's gotta be horrible. Imagine being the last person getting your American. That has to suck. You have to sit through all of that because it's like a few hours long.
4 hours. Yeah. I don't know how long we sat there.
That's ridiculous.
It was just like. We're sitting there. It's like, okay.
I mean,
here's Hawaii. Wow, there's 2 people that went. Okay, what about Alaska? Oh, only 1 showed up.
Yeah, well, there's only 1 person in all of Alaska FFA, apparently.
I don't know. There were supposed to be 2 that were receiving their American degrees.
Really?
Yeah. Huh. So I don't know if they were making money off of splitting wood or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Alaska FFA is not very big.
No, it's not. I have a friend that lives in Alaska, and he's like, he goes, I work 2 jobs. He goes, I'm self-employed, and then I have an employer with the crab boats. So during the crabbing season, he goes on the crab boats and makes a bunch of money.
That's crazy.
And
I couldn't do that.
Then on the off season, during after that, he then immediately starts hauling butt and starts finding like dead trees or sick trees
and starts chopping them up. Yeah,
and then starts splitting wood and selling that for the winter time.
That's crazy. Yeah, I know that timber's or lumber is a pretty big thing up there.
It is a very big thing. It's not very as controlled as it is here in California. Here in California, the reason why we've got so many dead trees is because there's so many people that are anti-logging. Right. There's still there are metal wedges that the environmentalists put in there. Mm-hmm. Didn't make much sense to me. It's like, why would you want to save a tree, but you're putting a piece of metal inside of it?
Right.
I think that does more harm to the tree because I do a lot of 4-wheeling up there around Yosemite, up on the eastern part of it, and we were coming off of a trail, and there was a tree across the road, and I started to get the chainsaw out. My dad goes, whoa, wait, there's a wedge in there. I'm like, what? Yeah. I'm glad I didn't, because the worst thing to happen is if you hit one of those wedges, especially with a longer bar, it's just the tip. It'll whip that chain back, it'll wrap around your arm, and it'll cut your hand off.
Really?
Because the chain's disengaged in the sprocket, and it wraps around your arm, and...
That's not good.
I was like, okay, I'm glad he just spotted that before me.
Yeah, I know.
I was like, I didn't even see it. He was standing on the other side, and he saw it sitting there. I'm like, man.
That would have been bad.
Yeah, it would have gotten right on the tip, and I was like, I don't want to deal with that.
crazy environmentalists.
I don't know. I know some environmentalists, and they're like they fight more in the courts than anything else.
Right.
But then there's the extremists that like
They
they're
just
like
go
we're gonna
out.
go wedge everything. And
Yeah,
wrap chains.
they're wedging and they're tying themselves to trees and they're.
Well, they even just wrap chains and cables and stuff around them, and it's just like that's stupid because the tree grows and the chain's tied on there. It's,
right, like you're just hurting the tree more than.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Right.
A lot of the Forest Service has tried to remove a lot of the chains and cables, but they're never going to find all the wedges.
No.
The point of the wedge was always hidden. Right. I mean, I don't like the whole idea of that, but
yeah, no, it's ridiculous.
But get back on topic.
Yeah. So the American Farmer Degree, you have to go through a ton of stuff to do it. And you have to make the long flight over to Indianapolis to actually receive your degree. For people that actually live in Indianapolis, it doesn't even matter if you live in Tennessee. You can make the drive up there in a couple of days.
Yeah, I wish I lived in Tennessee. It'd be a lot nicer there.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool. But yeah, no, I actually met some friends over in Nashville. They were like, oh yeah, we just drove up for the day. I was like, where are you from? They're like, Tennessee. I was like, yeah, really?
I have family that lives in Tennessee, in Knoxville.
That's crazy.
And we have some friends that live in Nashville, and we've gone and visited them. They work at an old record store there that I'm trying to remember the country music star that owned the place, but I guess it was one of the first places Elvis performed.
Oh, okay.
And
I know which one that is. I can't remember who owned it either, but
I can't remember. But I know people that work there. They're retired teachers, but they like working there. They're like, I like the history of it.
Yeah,
I like
cool.
music. I'm gonna work here.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
Nashville's an awesome place to go. I mean, it's just you think, oh, it's a big city,
right?
It's gonna be crowded. It's not. I mean, the most crowded places are the bars.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's not very crowded at all. I mean, people are driving UTVs down the street.
Oh, wow.
You can register them and drive them down the road there.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's not like here in California. I mean, you can't drive UTVs on the street at all.
No, you cannot, unfortunately.
No, I mean, they had this thing. It was like a bar on wheels that had pedals.
Really?
So people, as they're drinking, they could pedal. So it said powered by barley on the back.
That's awesome.
Or powered by wheat or whatever. I can't remember. So
it's like the ethanol powered by corn or whatever thing.
Yeah, except it was the people are consuming the alcohol and
pedaling. I see what you mean.
They sit on bar stools and there's pedals and you have to pedal.
That's funny.
While you're riding, you're drinking, and it's like, what happens if it falls off?
Yeah, how do they not crash after they get drunk enough?
The bartender's the one driving. There's a steering wheel.
They're just powering it. I see.
Yeah, and so at every stoplight, he's like, "All right, who wants a round of drinks?" And so, yeah, we saw that and we're like, "Oh, that is just so cool."
That's great.
Yeah.
All right. So back on topic, the American Farmer Degree.
Right.
So
the most important thing here.
Yeah. So the American Farmer Degree, kind of the whole reason I brought Gavin on here today is so we can talk about how exactly a person would go about getting this degree. I mean, we know the numbers, we know what you have to do to get it, but it's more important to see the practical side of what goes into getting this. So we'll just go down the list, piece by piece. The first one, say you got your state degree, and we talked a little bit about how you went about getting that.
Yeah. So I started off with my freshman year. I showed a pig for 4-H and a lamb for FFA, but I can't count the pig for 4-H. So I was like, well, why keep showing for 4-H? And plus, it was getting super hectic with the hogs. It's just, it's exploded. There's a lot of people there.
Right.
The pen situation at Porterville Fair was horrible. So we're just like, I'm not doing hogs anymore. Nobody's really that helpful anymore. They're all getting too competitive. I'm like, I don't want to be in that environment. So I'm like, but over here, the sheep, everybody's very helpful. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do sheep. So my whole time through high school, I showed sheep and sold those. That's how I made some of my money. The majority of it was actually done through lawn care. Huh. So I actually did a lot of lawn care.
So work experience, kind of, or
yes, exactly. So but it wasn't just lawn care. A lot of people that I worked for, they had fruit trees. So during the summer, they'd have me pick. I was like the only one there, but I was picking fruit trees like a small grove.
That's cool.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. But like mowing lawns and weeding gardens and spraying.
So I racked up your hours and money pretty quickly.
It did. As a matter of fact, I probably racked up a lot more hours and a lot more money in 1 year than I did in 4 years.
Wow.
Doing the welding. So and that was all agriculture stuff. We were building hot tanks, heat exchangers, waxing units for packing sheds.
Oh, okay, wow.
And I think the last part of the year that I was there, we built rollers for conveyor belts out of stainless steel. And so I had to basically cut the rods and then face them off on a lathe and then drill a hole, bore a hole all the way down it, and then I had to do it all individually. It's not machine. Wow. That was just the pins. Then there was the engagement rollers, which had a gear drive system on them. So we had to machine those and bore them. And then we had to take these little, like, quite honestly, this thing that's an actual cubic inch. It was inch by inch by inch. It was an actual true cubic inch.
Wow. And
we had to bore that on a CNC lathe, press that, and then weld it together. And that took the most time, was the welding part.
Yeah.
So, but I made a lot of money doing the welding. I wish I could go back and doing that again, but school takes a lot of time too.
Right.
So
no, exactly.
It was very hard working and going to school, and I think the only reason why I got my my American degree was because of that last little bit.
Yeah.
That I earned. That extra $5,000 from working in welding for like a year.
Yeah, that definitely helps.
But yeah, it was super, super hard to work and go to school.
Yeah, no, I can imagine.
I mean, I'm a lot of late nights.
Yeah.
and early mornings.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, so it wasn't too bad. But
yeah,
I'm used to it.
So that covers. So you were in FFA for all 4 years, you said?
Yes, all 4 years.
And then you were in 4-H for some time too, but that doesn't contribute to your FFA degree, I don't think.
No, it doesn't at all. I mean, I can use the community service hours,
right,
but I can't use the money I made off of that.
None of your experience hours go into that.
Yeah.
So, and then obviously you graduated a year after or you got your American degree after your graduation.
Yes.
You wouldn't be able to get it, obviously.
Yeah. So.
And then so as part of we talked about your project a little bit. You showed sheep, and then you did the welding thing, the lawn care, and the fruit picking, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that all invested into your amount of money and hours appropriately. It was
that I earned. So I mean, the work experience hours and the money for the state degree.
So when
the American and state degree, both of them.
So when you registered your experience, your enterprises, you registered all. Was that 4 or? Because when you go into your record books or in your AET or whatever, you have to register your different experiences. So like you register lawn care and register showing.
I had lawn care, and then I actually put the fruit picking stuff together because I was also doing lawn care for those people.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, it was like, okay, I got done weed eating. Yeah, so that was kind of all in one, and that was like for like basically 1 or 2 people.
Okay.
The rest of it was all lawn care. So I was like, well, I'll incorporate that. There's no need to make another list.
Right.
They were paying me hourly, so it was like, okay, you're done mowing the lawn, or done, they had one person had a pond, and they had me get out in a boat, and like the algae that floated to the top, I had to scoop it in the boat. So I did stuff like that, but I also, they're like, hey, I got some apples and I got some like other fruit trees over there, like peaches. I'd like to get them picked. They're pretty ripe. I'm like, yeah, sure. I go over there, and one of the apple trees, the branches are really like sagging, rolled down. I'm like, man. Start walking up, there's an apple about this big on that thing. I'm like, Jesus.
Just a massive apple.
Sweet Jesus, that's a big apple. I mean, I pulled those off, and she goes, did it just come off the tree? I go, yeah. That was one in the very back corner. And she goes, that's one that didn't get all the water. I'm like, that's just hilarious.
Makes no sense.
It was storing, I think, is what it was doing.
Oh, that makes sense.
When they don't have what happens when you overwater fruit trees, they get really small.
Yeah.
But if you don't water, if they get right on the edge of not enough, then they'll start storing it in the fruit for later, and so they get really, really big. So I think that's what happened.
Yeah. Make a great pie.
Oh, I know. I had one of the apples. They were the best apple. That was the best apple I think I've ever eaten. It was one of them nice, juicy red apples.
Oh, it was the best.
Yeah. It was still firm, but it wasn't too bad. So
that just about covers your experience. Like you said, you have the enterprises, your lawn care, showing, and welding. Those cover your 3 enterprises. And then, so how long did it take you to get the $10,000 you needed, or the amount of hours you need to invest in? Like,
I want to say, I can't quite remember. I think I was about $1,000 over what I needed.
Okay.
I think the lawn care, I got around $4,000 or $4,500 from like just the lawn care stuff.
Wow.
I have to look back at the records, but I think that's where the majority of it came from. And then the sheep attributed another $1,200 or whatever. I can't quite remember, but somehow it ended up $6,000 in that, and then the $5,000
came from the welding.
And that made $11,000. So I mean, I don't technically have all that money left. I wish I did right now. But, I still have a good chunk of it left for schooling.
That's good.
I mean, it was kind of one of those things. It's like, okay, I recorded, okay, I've made this much money, but then it's like, at the time, it was only like $200 at a time or whatever. And it was like, okay, well, it was when I was still getting my Jeep up and going, so it's like, I need some parts for my Jeep, and so I go and
start tapping into your...
Yeah, basically, it was a cash in hand thing with a lawn care. So I was like, okay, I need some parts for this or for that, and then it's like, okay, whatever's left over, that goes into savings.
Yeah.
But a good chunk of it went into that. I think my dog and some other projects as well. So taking care of my dog, and then also schooling. So, I mean, I still have a good chunk of it left. But
well, that's good. You didn't
it's all for
spend all of it, but
no, I'm very conservative with my money.
Yeah, that's
very
a good
frugal.
thing to, yeah, it's a good trait to have.
Yeah. Don't spend more than you're making.
Right. No, exactly. Yeah, it's always a good policy to keep in mind.
Yeah. So, like with the sheep, I got from the cattle people. Some of the people I knew from 4-H that showed cattle. They're like, you want to know how we make money off of this? I go, how? I mean, you must spend like thousands of dollars. You go, oh yeah, we do. We usually take how much money we've invested, multiply by 3.14, and cut it in half. And that's how much we need to. That's the minimum, or we need to get close to that number when we sell it.
Wow.
And it's like, really? And you guys actually get that? They go, oh yeah. Sometimes we even go over that.
Huh.
So it's like.
That's crazy.
Make over $3,000 on something you only invested $2,000 on.
Yeah, no, that's a great.
Yeah,
I was
like,
project.
Oh, wow, okay, I'll do that. So with my sheep, it's like I go sale day. It's like, okay, let's see here what I'm gonna try and get, and it's like, put it down. It's like, oh, I invested this much money into the sheep. Multiply by 3.14, divide that in half. It's like, okay, I need to try and make this.
Yeah.
And then right after I get the sale, it's like, okay, I did like $1.50 a pound or whatever. It's like that's not a whole lot for a sheep.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, I broke even, but I didn't quite get to my goal of actually making extra money off of it. But a couple of years, I only broke even. But selling one of my lambs at Tulare Fair, I actually made a lot of money off.
Yeah, no, Tulare Fair is pretty good for supporting
sheep.
its kids. Yeah.
Yeah, Porterville Fair is not the best for selling sheep at. If you're selling pigs, yeah. So like my first year, with the hog, I sold my pig, and I don't think I was able to use that for the FFA, and I probably didn't, but I kind of recuperated some of my money off of the lamb from that, and then put it back into it, and I don't think I really made any money off that lamb that year. But the second time I went to Tulare Fair, I did make a lot more money off of it, and then the years after that, I was able to get a lot of add-ons. That's how I made up a lot more of my money.
Yeah, no, that's always how I stayed above water was my add-ons.
That's the best way.
Yeah, if it wasn't for my add-ons, I would be in deep debt right now.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. It's like, okay, I broke even with the sale of the lamb, but it's like, now what about the add-ons? And it's the add-ons. It's like, okay, well, that's like only half of what I actually made off the lamb, but still, it gave me a profit. And so a lot of the American degree stuff was based off of add-ons mostly.
Right. Yeah. No, I did the same thing with putting all my information, because I was the kid that bought steers to win, so they're always super high dollar steers, and I did not always win with them. But I like spending the money because I'm not the most financially sound apparently. But because of my add-ons, I was able to not completely lose all my money. I was able to make some back. That's just because I was really good about going out and asking for add-ons. I would say, hey,
I kept sending add-ons to people I'd been sending add-ons to since I was like 9 years old. And so they're like, oh, you're doing it again this year? Okay, yeah, sure. Well, and then I think my senior year, I did make money off the lamb, but I didn't ask for any add-ons. People still gave me add-ons. People that I knew, and it's like, okay, well, especially from the welding shop, there were some of the other welders, they heard I was selling a lamb, and they even came and just gave me an add-on. I was like, nice. Wow, that's awesome. I mean, they didn't work for the same shop I did, because there's only 3 of us. It was me, the owner, and his oldest son. Oh. And so it was just the 3 of us in there, and occasionally somebody just kind of walked in and helped us with a small project. I mean, but it was, but yeah, I was like, wow, I got all these add-ons for people. They're like, well, it's your last year. We felt like we needed to give you something. I was like, well, I didn't really want to bother you with it. So I was busy with working and finishing up high school. I was like, I just didn't really have any time to write the buyer's letters. Right. And people still gave me money off of it. I was like, they're like, we've been doing it for so many years. We figured might as well for the last time. Yeah. I was like, that's great. I like that. But I did make a lot more money off of my lamb that last year. And I think it's because the person that bought it there was a bidding war between two people that I had sent buyer's letters to the previous year. They're like, oh, it's his last year? I'm going to buy his land. They're having bidding wars.
That's great.
Yeah, matter of fact, it was two people that were married at one time.
Oh. That's interesting.
They're having a bidding war. His ex-wife and ex-husband bidding back and forth against each other.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so they kind of drove the price up, but I'm pretty sure one of them, I think it was the ex-husband was the one who ended up with it.
Oh.
I can't remember. It was a while ago, but it was just they had this bidding war back and forth. Like, no, I'm going to buy this thing. They got really competitive about it.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, $1.50 pound, $2.25. It's like, whoa, it just jump up. Okay, cool.
That's funny.
But yeah, so I mean, I made a lot of more money off of the welding and the yard work. The sheep was just kind of that was my SAE project. You needed that's part of the requirement for your American degree. You have to have an SAE.
Right.
I really wanted to do cattle in high school, but I didn't have the funding for it.
Yeah, it's really expensive. The only reason I was able to do cattle is because my dad gave me a little investment for my first year, about my first year, and then I went out by myself. My dad had to give me a ride, obviously, but I went out by myself and I went over and shook the hands of all the guys I was asking for add-ons from, and then when I actually sold my steer, they gave me enough add-ons to basically double what I spent on my steer, so I was able to buy a better steer the next year, and then it kept going that way. But yeah, cattle's it's really, really hard to keep your head above water.
That's why when I started doing the show team with COS my first year, my first semester, I did both semesters, and it was just a club at the time, and now it's a class.
Right.
So I took that class this semester, and it's a little different, being it's not your own time you're going, it's a class time. You're getting graded now. It's like I'm working just as hard as I did before, but
it's almost not the same.
But now Mr. McKeith adds in. You've got to do extra hours.
Right.
You gotta. Unlike the club was just like, okay, you're part of the club. You go to the meetings and you get to show one of the animals.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's, oh, we're having an event this weekend and you have to help.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, I had something planned. Like it's been in a month in advance.
Right.
Like, I can't go. And he's like, oh, it's all right. You only have to help with 3 of them. This is just the first one. Oh. We still have 3 more. So I was like, okay, that's good. But it was. That changing, but I got to show cattle, so I was like, oh, I've always wanted to show cattle.
Yeah, no, showing cattle is really fun.
Yeah, I've actually only shown heifers so far, not steers, but just heifers.
I prefer showing steers to heifers because heifers are a little bit more moody.
Yeah, they are. Sometimes. They're kind of stubborn. I mean, the heifer I showed, she was the first heifer I showed was supposedly but she didn't like anybody, but for some reason, one of the girls was struggling, like, come on, you stupid animal, like getting mad at it. And I mean, this was a replacement heifer. She was full size.
Oh,
she was big, and she was a replacement heifer. And she's just sitting there like,
yeah.
No, you're not gonna pull me.
Yeah, pushing back.
And I just kind of like pushing back against her, and she's pulling on. She kind of throws a rope. He's like, come on, pulling on there with like all of her weight. She goes. I go. Just give her some, space. Don't be tugging. Just kind of be gentle with her.
Give her slack.
I've been trying to do that. I go here. Let me see. I grab. I start like kind of rubbing her on her forehead and sitting there. She's kind of like sitting there and she's seeing like I'm like, come on, you want to walk? We'll go for a walk. And then she just kind of is talking sweet to her, and all of a sudden she starts walking for me. And then she goes, fine, you show her then. And I'm like, and so some of the herdsmen were like, who were on the show team, and Mr. McKeith were like, okay. She works for you, nobody else. You have to show her. I'm like, great.
Yeah.
I was already going to show a lamb at that time.
Oh.
I'd shown a lamb my first semester, and it was last semester. It was the first one I showed a heifer. And so we went to Fresno Fair this year, and I showed a heifer as well. But I didn't show sheep. I was like, I've shown sheep. I've shown hogs. Hell, I've even shown goats. I mean, it's like, goats wasn't all that competitive when I started either. There was a very small group of us. There was... me, Tyson Brim, and this other girl that she was a good family friend of Judy Kay. She has the White Rail Ranch out there in Porterville.
Gotcha.
Around Teapot Dome. It's actually really close to the new fairgrounds. I used to buy goats from Judy all the time. Man, I can't remember the girl's name. Oh, her name was Cody. That's what it was. Her name was Cody, and was kind of competitive between the three of us.
Oh, yeah. Because your own little
team. Tyson was super competitive and Cody was too, and it was kind of like goes from like, I think the one year Tyson didn't compete with us in goats, it was just me and Cody, and me and her ended up she was a grand champion, I was reserve.
Oh.
And I was like, yes, because the year prior she was reserve and Tyson was grand champion. Oh. Because that was when Tyson started trying to show sheep. It was when he started showing pigs is what it was. He started going to pigs, and so, but then like the next year he went back to goats and started still beating us. Again. Yeah, and then it started getting more and more competitive, and I kind of got out of showing goats because I got taller, and it was harder for me because goats are about half the size of a sheep,
right?
Like, and it's like you have to bend down further, so it's like, okay, now I'm gonna start showing sheep. My sister already showed sheep. She had breeding ewes, and she actually bred sheep. She was only a flock of 2, but still we still had sheep. I mean, we used to the little lambs were the friendliest things ever. They'd follow you around. They were like a dog. But she already had those sheep, and so I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna show sheep too. So, since apparently I'm too tall to show goat anymore.
Right.
So I mean, did that. I showed hogs up until high school, and I then showed sheep all through high school. But that was a lot of fun. I liked high school, especially in FFA, going to the events.
Yeah,
the long road trips.
Yeah.
I think my favorite competition was going to Chico because there was a little burger joint that Mr. Coons would always take us to. It was called the Madison Bear Garden. The best burger joint ever. I mean, they had like pool tables up above, upstairs.
Oh, that's cool. They
had a dock. You could play. They had one of those punching bag games, so we all take bets. All right, who can make it go up the highest? And like, you got the big old corn-fed kid that he's like, I got this, bam, and he's thinking good high score, and then there's me. And I walk up, bam, and I punch that thing, and I get like 3 points above him. And he goes, how did you do that? And I go, I don't know, I just put my weight into it. And he goes, oh, and he gets all like frustrated. This kid always got frustrated, and he sit there and trying to do it. He's getting out lower scores than he was because I think he was trying too hard.
Yeah.
But it was just like, I mean, that was a lot of fun. And then, like, one of the other hotels we stayed at had a pool table, and we had to pay, and we'd be like, okay, the loser of this round has to pay for the next one. And that's just how we kept playing in rounds, so, like, not just one of us had to keep paying. So it's like, okay, the loser of this round had to keep paying, and I was kind of a bit of a hustler with that.
Oh, yeah.
So I kind of be like, oh, darn, I missed. And then they start getting pockets, and then I boom, 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 and start knocking. And I figured my theory was that if they started getting less of their cue ball, or not cue balls, but their numbers off, I'd have more space to hit mine. So I would, instead of hitting theirs in the pockets, so then I kind of let them get about half of theirs, and I'd start knocking them in. And they're like, how'd you get so good all of a sudden? I go, oh, I mean, they're picking up on it. So, I mean, I'd win like a couple of rounds and then purposely lose like second one and be like, okay, I'm going to pay this one.
Gotcha.
And just kind of sit it out. But I mean, we do that kind of stuff. There were a lot of late nights with studying for the competitions. I did farm power. It was very difficult to me and kind of frustrating with that because I was the only person that was on that team for all 4 years. My first year, there was a guy, his family had a farm, and he's like, oh, I know everything. And he was super pissed off because we went to Chico. That was like the first competition that we went to as a team. And I beat him. He on like ID and on driving and all this, and he goes, you don't even live on a farm. And I go, well, you know what, I studied. I mean, I studied it, and I apparently have more knowledge than you than you do. And it was just, I beat him, and he got super irritated, and I think he only went to 3 more competitions, and he stopped going because he felt like this, he's like this junior or senior, and there's this freshman kid beating him.
Yeah.
And he was super pissed off about it. And then the other girl, that she was in it for like 2 years. Was it 2 years? Yeah, she was in it for about 2 years. And she thought she knew everything. And she was all like, I don't know why they beat me. I already knew all this stuff. I was like, yeah, but when I was trying to get you to study last night, you didn't want to because you're like, oh no, I already know this. I was like, it just frustrated me because I wanted to have like a top ranking team. I was always up in the top 10, always.
Wow.
And actually we went to Pomona, and it was a smaller group, and I was like, yes, I got 5th place. I was like, I finally got to be able to go get an award, and I was so proud about that my senior year. But I mean, that was the fun part. The most fun I think I ever had was doing the FFA stuff.
That's good.
Getting out. I think I felt more social after high school, because going into high school, it's like, man, who are all these people?
Right.
And it's just kind of weird. Like, you get into my senior year, and there's all these people who go, "Oh, hi, Gavin, how's it going?" It's like, "Hi." And I can't remember their name, and I just felt so bad. Man. But all these people in high school knew who I was, because like, they're like, "Oh yeah, you're that guy." And I had guitar classes. They're like, "You're the guy that plays the guitar." I go, "Oh yeah, I know." And so I mean, they there's always. I mean, the cheerleaders seem to like me.
That's never a bad thing.
No, they were always super friendly to me. So they were always they like, I don't know, they'd get out of class or whatever, and they'd come and they'd sit out there with us during our guitar class, because we were allowed outside.
That's
to
cool.
Play, because nobody wanted to be in the choir room the whole time. But they'd come out there and they'd sit there and they'd listen to me play guitar or the other guys play guitar and talk with them, and then one of the security guards comes over. Go back to class. And then the security guard would sit there. Big Ed would sit there and go, "Hey, can I play your guitar real quick?" Big Ed was a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, that's good.
FFA I think was the biggest highlight of high school.
Yeah, for me it was too. So, you talked about how it was kind of hard because you had to work and you were going to school and you had FFA and you had showing, all that kind of stuff. So in order to get your American Farmer degree, you have to have a C or better and it has to be approved by a principal or superintendent. Yeah. Was that hard for you to maintain?
No, because all my classes, except for my freshman year, it was I think my freshman and sophomore year, I had a 70. I think the lowest grade I had was a 75, and that was in a math class. The rest of them were all A's and B's. Wow. So I was like, okay, I got that handled. Right. And at the time, I wasn't even thinking about an American degree. What it was for me was a CSF stuff. Oh yeah. And when I graduated, I got to have a cord. Yeah. And I got to walk across the stage and got recognized as one of the CSF recipients. And that's basically what it was. My sister was a CSF recipient, and she was what do they call it? They're like the top.
Like the lifetime members, or
no, they were the top students of the whole school.
Oh, valedictorian.
Yeah, she was a valedictorian, and she got a C in a class once. Wow. And that was when she started in college, and she was so upset. She calls on the phone and she's crying. "I got a C in my class." My mom was like, "Well, what class was it?" "It was soil science." "Oh, that's a great grade. You should see the one I got." Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my sister was like, if I don't get an A, it's horrible, because she got one B out of the whole time she was in high school, and I think she claims it's like, what was it? When she was first starting school, it was like, yeah, whatever. But then she got more competitive with grades, and so, I mean, she got, I think the worst. She used to get B's when she was in the lower grades, but she gets up in 5th and 6th, 7th and 8th grade, and even into high school, it was all A's. And I think it was her senior year she got a B, and she was super upset she got a B, because all through high school she had A's. Yeah. And then she had this one B. Yeah. And it pissed her off.
Yeah. No, there's all.
And then there was me. I was like, "Oh, you got a B? That's pretty good." And I was like, "I'm okay with the B."
Yeah. No, I'll take a B as long as I'm passing.
Yeah, as long as I pass, I get to graduate. That was the big thing.
No, exactly.
My parents are like, "You better graduate high school. You're not going to be the only one in the family that's never graduated high school." And now I can say I'm the only one in the family to have an American degree.